Hey there, friend, and welcome to January 7th. Starting off the day here with a little bit of video editing while I eat one of my favorite breakfasts. Recipe courtesy of Jessie. We got potatoes, tomatoes, bell pepper, and onion, and a little bit of fake feta. I proceeded to go upstairs and get ready, gonna wash my face, do my hair, and came out of the bathroom to this little dude just hanging out, messing around on the stairs. Finn, what you doing there, boy? What you doing? Finn, just messing around, huh? Hey, board. Hey, board. It is a Friday. I've been up for a while, just kind of did some, it's kind of like slow morning, video editing. One of the things that has fallen off with doing this daily vlog is my morning routine. So if you were watching videos before I started the vlog stuff, I was doing a morning routine right over here and haven't been doing that this past week because I've been spending my mornings doing the vlog stuff. So that's something I do want to try to figure out. I've been kind of trying to figure out how this is fitting into my schedule. Obviously this will continue to change once I get a job and I have that to do during the day. Obviously I'm still doing some client stuff. I'm doing the Uber Eats stuff. But once I get like a job, a day job, things will look very different. Finn, let's not do that right now, buddy. Can't you see Dad is talking? He's been running around with this toy all morning because we don't normally give it to him, or not like all the time because it's so freaking loud. So yeah, he got it this morning and he was very happy to have it and was running around and squeaking it all over. But yeah, so just kind of continuing to play with my schedule, see how that goes. I know that over time I will get faster at the editing of videos. I already feel like I'm starting to feel that a little bit. I'm getting used to the tool, and which, by the way, I use InShot and I absolutely love it. So this is on iPad, and so Jessie does her editing on the computer, on her Mac, but the iPad's actually really, really nice for this. I like having a mouse, I like having a bigger screen to do stuff generally as well, but for the video editing, this has been really, really nice, and using that app, InShot, I love it. I paid for it, it was like $5 or something. It's like, I think, it was like a Black Friday thing, but it was really cheap considering, like, for the year, I think it was. And just has like all the functionality. It's super intuitive. So yeah, anyways, I am starting to get used to that. I'm starting to just, like, my proficiency with that will go up, obviously. And, I've only been doing this for a week, a little over a week with the other videos that I was doing. But the more often that I do this, I'm just gonna get faster at it. So all those things to say, my morning routine, I've been slightly frustrated just because I haven't been super efficient with my time. I feel like not efficient. I've been good with the time that I'm using, but I find myself being like, oh my God, it's like 11 o'clock and I wanted to do, I'm not gonna sit there. It's like I wanna do all this other stuff before lunchtime. So anyways, yeah. And then there's just adjusting bedtimes and all that good stuff, because during football season, I was just going to bed quite a bit later because I'm like reading football stuff, or I'm making lineups on DraftKings or whatever it is. So I think I've said this a couple times, but there's just going to be a lot of schedule and routine change in the month of January, and I'm trying not to be like super forceful with that or like annoyed at myself, and just kind of like understand that it's going to be a transition. There are going to be things that happen that I don't like, that I do feel like I wasted the morning, or got up too late, or it was a struggle to get up early, or whatever the case is. So yeah, with that, I guess I'm curious if you have any routine things that you're trying to put into place, whether it's for the new year or just in general, something that you've been working on or wanting to work on. It's one of those things that really does change your day and your experience of daily life. So I'm a huge proponent of being really intentional about those things and having those things kind of ground you into your day, and also give some meaning or purpose to your day and what you're doing. So yeah, if you have certain things that you're doing, I would love to know. Yeah, for me, it's like the video editing, and then the other things that I was doing that I want to get back to doing are reading the Daily Stoic, the Tools for Titans, reading a little like segment from there because those are pretty short, and then pulling a tarot card, just either asking a question or just kind of letting it, you know, just like pulling it and seeing what comes up, and then just, if I'm feeling like I need to, just giving myself the space to journal on that, write about that, whatever. So yeah, so those are the things that I'm trying to fit in. And yeah, like I said, a big part of this is really just shifting sleep time and wake time with how it's been the past few months. So yeah, that's something I'll be doing. Yeah, I guess I'll do a morning routine video at some point, probably along the way here, as I start to get that back into my routine more. And something that I'm doing regularly. It's been feeling really good doing the video. It kind of allows me to have like a creative release and engage in that first thing during the day, which feels really good. It feels really good to not like jump into something super structured, rigid, strategic, all things that I love, but to start the day in more of a creative, flowy way has been feeling really good. So I do want to continue to incorporate that as well. The rest of the morning was client work. I do call logs for my clients, so I send them some reflections based on our calls that week, as well as homework and journal prompts for them to work on before our next call. All right, it's lunchtime here. We've got a Impossible burger on the thing here, the frying pan. First time trying those like at home, and then we've got a big old salad here. It's kind of hard to see with the lighting. Let me see if I can. Oh, that's intense lighting there. But yeah, it's basically like a chopped salad. Ooh, there we go. Chopped salad bag mix, and then got some leftover artichokes, cucumber, some sunflower seeds, some hemp seeds, and some of that creamy dill dressing that we showed in our Costco Trader Joe's haul yesterday. I know I'm not the only one who's hungry though, am I? Are you hungry? Do you want some food? Yeah? Okay, let's go.
Look at a graphical picture of a snowflake, but let's introduce a little bit of a complication, specifically in the form of branching, so you have something.
I don't know whether to be happy or scared about this Impossible meat, because for one, it looks like ground meat. For 2, it cooks like ground meat. For 3, it more or less tastes like ground meat. It's not all that different. And it even has texture like ground meat, like as you're eating it. That's either really cool and really interesting from a laboratory perspective or terrifying, depending on how you look at it. I know everybody has their own opinions on this. I think it's interesting. It's not something that I would make a part of my daily diet, but I also don't think it's the worst thing ever.
I gave you the idea, you dick.
Who's sitting on the low-ass cushion? How does this place go from freezing cold to 70 degrees? It doesn't make any sense.
You.
Ow, no.
Can you lay down there? You don't need to put it down.
No, actual fuck you. Oh yeah, I like that.
You like what? My hair looks like shit. I'm like hidden behind you.
I'm like hot as balls.
Are you?
But I like this.
Well, you were upstairs. It gets hotter up there.
Yeah.
That's like too big.
It's like a good. Should I tap it down? Hi.
You should
Is
pick
it-
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I've got Benjamin, my husband, with me today. Welcome. Welcome
What's
to the
up?
channel. If you hear anything in the background, Finnegan decided now was the time that he was going to wake up, so he's currently rolling around on the floor.
Literally
And Cora
upside down right
is
now.
right next to us, so they want to be involved. But,
You're being good, though. Good role model.
Finn, quiet.
Hey there, friend. We are going to just film a little segment here on mistakes that we made, or maybe we'll talk about one big mistake that we made in our 20s. So we actually just filmed a video on mistakes that we made in our 20s around money. for Jessie's channel. So I'll link that below and you go ahead and check out our conversation there. By the way, welcome, Jessie.
Yeah, thanks. Ben
like-
rambles on my channel all the time, but now I get to ramble.
She's like,
Well, I have therapy in 11 minutes, so not very much.
yeah,
rambling.
get a pre-therapy brain dump is where I was going there.
Therapy.
Therapy. But yeah, welcome to my channel, my young channel here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'm kind of curious because I have all these things that we just talked about financially kind of bouncing around in my brain. And I'm wondering if those are going to be kind of linked. But I don't know, do you have one to start us?
Like a personal,
Yeah,
or just like a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
I think a big one for me that kind of encapsulates everything is caring too much about what people thought about me. And I always thought that I didn't think about that, but now that I look back at a lot of my decisions, I did. You know, I didn't leave jobs because I thought that that made me a job hopper. I didn't, and you know, people told you shouldn't do that. I stayed in relationships with people that didn't make me happy because I was told that I couldn't find somebody better. I stayed in friendships where I was worried about that, or I wanted to make them happy and they weren't making me happy. And it just all comes back to that, just like caring too much about what other people thought about me, putting too much into things that I wasn't getting back either. Kind of those two wrapped up into one, and it's not something that just like goes away. I definitely still have people pleaser tendencies, and I'm realizing that I still have more than I thought that I did. But,
we always do.
Right, and I think honestly, I think it's like a 20s thing, and I feel like it's so much easier said than done to like not care what people think. But I wish that I would have made more decisions that I wanted. I wish that I would have made friends that I wanted to have, or left relationships because I thought it was a good idea, instead of so much relying on other people telling me what they thought I should do with my life because I wanted to make them happy in the end. And, you know, there's some like trauma swapped up into that as well, but I do think
Therapy in 10 minutes.
Therapy in 10 minutes. But I do think that that's like a huge thing for me, is that I just wish that I would have cared more about what I thought versus what other people thought.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, it's funny because I feel like I made plenty of mistakes, but they were like good mistakes that like led to my growth. Now, there is some of what Jessie's saying that I can relate to as well. I had a really powerful experience of leaving my super safe, like high ceiling job 2 years into my professional career that I made that decision for me. Nobody really supported me in that. And so by doing that, I gained a lot of, I was like, oh, I can like, because it ended up being a really awesome decision for me. I was able to have, like, it was a really big moment of like, oh, I can like trust myself and my intuition. And so I got that kind of early on, which was really meaningful and kind of helped shape me and how I approached my 20s, gave me a lot of confidence in some ways. And so there was that. But like with that, there were also mistakes that were made. Some of them, or a lot of them, we talked about in the video on Jessie's channel with finances, just making, you know, just like not really understanding a budget well, like having, I mean, or a personal budget like at all really, or attempting to do that. Business wise, you know, I started my own fitness business and I had money coming in. And that was like essentially where my analysis of it ended, was like, oh, I can pay myself this. You know, I did know some stuff and had like a very, very basic budget, but it definitely wasn't knowing my money well. And so the savings that I had, I like kind of dwindled, and I made some risky-ish investments in terms of crypto.
You're stealing all the ones from my channel. That's not okay. They're
I'm not
gonna go to my channel.
No, but there's like a ton of details.
Well, I can think of a
I'm just
mistake
giving,
you made in your 20s.
I'm just giving the high level. What, dating you?
Nope, that was probably the only decision you made in your life that was intelligent, including not just saying that one.
Hold on. The final thing I was going to say then is starting a donut business with my cousin. Like, all those things were risky. All those things had kind of like mistakes baked in there, but they ended up being
Donuts baked.
happy mistakes in a way. And so I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, in my 20s, there were mistakes made. There was painful or challenging circumstances, but I grew a lot in my 20s. And therefore now at, how old am I? 33? I don't even know how old I am. Like, I really know who I am. I know a lot about myself, and I made a lot of the dumb decisions and mistakes, I feel like. Not that I won't make those moving forwards, but I feel like I used that decade of my life the way that I believe it should be used. Being young, doing kind of risky things, trying to figure out who you really are, how you can best live your life. And even like what Jessie's saying, it's similar in a way. Like, you may have made a lot of mistakes in that way, but it's like now you're realizing, oh shit, like, that's what I don't want. Now I can move forward with what I do want. Whereas, like, I feel like
that's what we talked about in my video, though, was that while these are mistakes, we don't necessarily regret any of them, because they've either taught us stuff, or they've pushed us into things, or we've met people because of them, or they've ended up not being a full regret. Can I tell you one of the things that I think you should say?
Yeah.
Just because I've heard you talk about it now,
Yeah.
I think both of us could say this, but taking care of our health a little bit better in our 20s. So we both, and him more than me, because he's always eaten pretty well.
Yeah.
But there were like supplements, and there were like whatever that pre-workout stuff is that you think like really messed you up, and like maybe ignoring some symptoms that you had before his health just was gone. And I think, and again, you can never know that something's going to happen. And I think when you're in your 20s particularly, you think that you're invincible, particularly as a male. But I think that I can see that. Like, I see now sometimes you having some not regret, but just kind of wishing that you would have looked into things sooner, or noticed, like, I think that this symptom that I have is from, years of taking this terribly, terribly strong pre-workout or things like that. That I think for me, I also feel a little bit just that I wish I would have taken care of my body in a way that was like more caring and proactive. But again, I think when you're in your 20s, you're just like, I'm young.
Yeah.
Because we looked healthier than we do now in our 20s. Like, we both were like Ben was jacked,
really in shape. I
was in shape, like, so we looked to the eye healthier, but I would say that we're probably healthier.
We have healthier
now.
habits.
We have healthier habits now. That's a good way of saying it. But that was just one that I wanted to bring up, because you've brought that up before. Yeah.
I do think that's a good point. Yeah, definitely, especially with physical appearance and working out and stuff like that. I just got obsessive about it. That was one of the things, would be just like knowing when to like slow down and like pull back at something, and just be more honest about
how you're actually
the whole of the situation, as opposed to just kind of like barreling through it. And
because I don't think the working out thing was the problem. I think it was more that you were ignoring other symptoms you were getting too. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of us do that. Like, I don't feel like that's too different. But I have to go to therapy, speaking of working through things, so.
Jessie's gonna go work through things. We can
Ow.
talk shit about her after she leaves.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna kind of wrap this up with living in Chicago is something that many of my peers wanted. Pretty much felt like everybody around me, like that was the pinnacle, like living downtown, living in the city. And that never called to me. I never felt really pulled to the city. I always liked quieter, kind of like country life rather than hustle bustle of the city. Never was, you know, of course in my 20s, like in college and then a year out of college, I liked to party and stuff like that. But that quickly went away, like after that period of my life. And then I just didn't need it anymore. But like, that's what my friends wanted to do. And so that's kind of what I went and did instead of trying to figure out other things. Like I would ditch them some nights and stay home and be introverted. And those nights always felt really good to me, but then I didn't try to or know how to create other friendships that were a little bit more like me and didn't make me feel bad about not prioritizing or valuing those things like they did. So yes, those things that Jessie said, definitely, I know I was like brushed it off a little bit, but like those things definitely happened in my life in some ways as well. And yeah, definitely something that a lesson we both learned very like deeply and have in our early 30s made the choice to listen to that and go with our gut and what feels right to us. And if that means being different than the majority, then that means doing things differently than the status quo, and being okay with the confusion, eye rolling, side eyes that come from that. And if any and all of that resonates, guess what? You have a home here on my channel, on Jessie's channel, because yeah, we're your people. But yeah, with that, it's not really any more fun now that Jessie's gone. But yeah, go on over to her channel to check out the finances one. I'll link that video below. Also, if you have any experiences you want to share, mistakes that you made in your 20s, and then if you have any questions about what we talked about in this video here, I would love to know what your questions are, so feel free to hit me up with those. But with that, thanks for hanging out. I'm excited to do more segments like this in the future, especially with Jessie. I think it's fun to talk about that in relationship and just kind of allow you guys a window into our lives. So I want to quickly add this in here because I thought of a concise way to get across what Jessie was referring to about kind of like observing in me and like mistakes I had made. And so what I would describe as my mistake would be ignoring / avoiding signs of things not being right. So she was talking about specifically me doing this with health things, but this is a tendency that I've had, and so that can also be extrapolated out to other things. Yeah, just like avoiding discomfort or conflict, approaching things head on. Everything's fine, everything is gonna be okay, I'll worry about it later, were all kind of either actual words that came out of my mouth or just kind of an internal story or the way that I justified not dealing with things right here and now. I had certain points within my business where that was a thing as well, where I was like starting to lose business or I just lost a chunk of business all at one time, but then kind of like waited and just crossed my fingers and hoped that things would get better instead of like really being proactive about making a shift and making a change. So yes, so that is how I would describe that.
Too. So there's some kind of vision that you desire to bring into life. But the only way to do that is to cut away the